So this one, Isa, Pian. We're gonna try and solve this one. ये W22 question paper 2-2, ठीक है? So now starting with the first question. Ionic and covalent bonds involve electrostatic attraction between different species. Identify the species that are electrostatically attracted to one another. Ionic bond mein, it's a cation attracted to an anion. Okay, so for example, Na+1, Cl-1 attracted to each other. Covalent bond mein kaun attract hota hai? It's the nucleus or nuclei which are attracted to shared electrons. जैसा H2 का molecule है, तो there's a hydrogen nucleus, and there are two electrons that are being shared between them. Here, show the total number of protons and electrons in the molecular ion NH4+1. So NH4+1 mein N is periodic table at 7 and 14, and H is 1 and 1, right? So the number of protons are 7 or 4H, so that's 11 protons. And since it's a positive ion, that means it's got one less electron. Here, carbonate mein carbon is 12 and oxygen is 16. The number of 16 nahi hota, 8 hota, that's the proton number, that's 8. And carbon bhi 12 nahi hota, that's 6. So CO3 is 8 into 3. 8 into 3, that's kya hota, that's 8 into 3 is 24. 24 plus 6 is 30. So you've got 30 protons and it's got a charge of -2. So that means there are 2 extra electrons. So that's 32 electrons. Of a PO4, 3 minus. P is what periodic table means 15 protons, oxygen is 16, 8. So 8 into 4 is 32, 32 plus 15, that's 32 plus 15 is 37. Or -3 charges, so that means there are 3 extra electrons. So ye unke charges hai. Define what a bronzolaric acid is. It's a proton donor. Proton H+1 donor. NH4+1 is heated with NaOH. A pungent gas is produced. Write an ionic equation for this. So NH4+1 or NaOH में OH ions hai. This acts as an acid and this one acts as a base. OH ions H+1 accept karte hain, they turn into water. NH4 loses H+1, turns into NH3. ठीक है, तो याद रखा ammonium salts, they always react with bases. Some ammonium chloride, it will react with NaOH. The OH will accept H+1, form water. The NH4 would lose H+1, will turn into ammonia. और पीछे आपके पास salt रह जाएगी, that's Na and Cl. तो ये ऊपर that's your ionic equation. अच्छा, अब अगला जो पार्ट है वो ये कि the nitrogen atom in NH4+1 is sp3 hybridized. sp3 orbitals. One second. Just 1 second. So what is the question? Acha, sp3 orbitals form from the mixing of 1 2s and 3 2p orbitals. Sketch the shape of a 2s and a 2p orbital on the axis. And it's got nothing to do with sp3 hybridization. You're just supposed to show the shape of a 2s. So 2s yoga was spherical, and 2px would be on the p orbital on the x-axis. Okay, that's it. So it had nothing to do with sp3 hybridization. As the next part is name the anion that's a phosphate ion. Struvite is a soft hydrated mineral with MR of 245.3. The anhydrous form of the mineral has the formula this. So calculate the number of molecules of water of crystallization in this thing. Give your answer to the nearest integer. So he's saying that this thing NH4 Mg PO4. Uski jo hydrated mineral salt and has an MR of hydrate means there's some water in it. So the hydrated mineral salt is 245.3. The water nikalna hai, how much water does it have? So we're going to first find out what this is. NH4 jo hota hai, that's 18. Mg is what? Pure table mates 24.3. PO4 I think is 16 times 4 plus 31, that's 95. So that's So that's 95. अच्छा अब ये quick add करके मुझे बताया कि what is this part? On Aiza, Noor, ये please add करके बता दो कि क्या आ रही है.
Sir, it's 137.3.
ठीक है, तो 137.3, right? इसका मतलब है तो water कितना होगा? This is 137.3. This entire thing. So the total is 245.3. Hydrated crystal की जो MR था, that was 245.3. This means what amount of water is supposed to be added to this? 108. इसमें से इसको subtract करो, what do you get? You get, I guess you're going to get 108. 108 ही आ रहा है. $245 में से you're subtracting 137. So 108. How many water molecules is 108? That's 6 water molecules, I think. Water जो होता है, that's 18. 18 times 6 जो होता है, I think that's 108. So answer number of molecules of water, that's going to be 6. ठीक है, clear question? तो अगले पे मूव करें. अच्छा, OH ions react with 2-bromo-2-methyl propane in an SN1 mechanism. The molecular ion forms as an intermediate in this reaction. Draw the mechanism for the SN1 reaction of OH minus 1 with पहले तो figure out करना है what is this 2-bromo-2-methyl propane और इसका reaction हो रहा है OH ions के साथ. So propane is propane क्या होता है? That's 3 carbon atoms and it's 2-bromo-2-methyl. So 2 पे ना that's a methyl 1 carbon atom and 2 पे there's a bromo. So propane tha with 2-bromo-2-methyl, right? And you can add the H atoms. Okay? So there's going to be 3 H's over here. ये सारे लिख भी देते हैं 3 H's, right? Now the first question is, it's a halogenoalkane, right? And he's asking that there's a reaction going on with OH minus 1. तो पहली चीज है, what type of halogenoalkane is this? This is a tertiary halogenoalkane, क्योंकि जो ये बीच वाला जो कार्बन है ना, this one, that is bonded to 3 carbon chains on all 3 sides. So it's a tertiary halogenoalkane. तो इसके notes खोलो कि what type of reaction happens when you have a tertiary halogenoalkane? What type of reaction happens when you have a halogenoalkane reacting with OH minus 1? Pehla kaam. A halogenoalkane SN1 SN2 reaction mechanism. SN1 किसका होता है? टर्शियरी का. तो OH minus 1 के साथ reaction होगा, substitution होगा. You can substitute with Cn minus 1. You can substitute the halogen with NH3 as well. So there are 3 substitution reactions. He's talking about this one, OH minus 1. SN mechanism, okay? The mechanism is also given over here, nucleophilic substitution. 2 types के mechanism होते हैं, ठीक है? One is primary जो होगा ना, उसके अंदर the OH minus 1 directly gets attracted to the carbon which is positive, and the Cl over here gets knocked out. OH यहाँ से जुड़ गया और Cl उधर से हट गया, ठीक है? So the OH comes in, knocks out Cl. But in a tertiary halogenoalkane, what happens is that you've got a tertiary halogenoalkane, the Cl gets knocked out first, forms a carbocation, Cl चला गया electrons लेके, फिर OH minus 1 आएगा, ठीक है? And then it will connect with this carbon. So this is the mechanism that's going to take place over here. This का जो first step होगा, that step would be that the Br is going to take away electrons. तो इसमें SN1 mechanism है. OH पहले नहीं आता. The Br gets knocked out first. तो ये carbon से ना बीच वाले carbon, so the Br is gone. And then the OH minus 1 comes in. और वो आके फिर इधर attract हो जाता है. So this carbon, which is bonded to 3 CH3s, will also have an OH that's going to be attached to it. So remember कि ये nucleophilic substitution, ठीक है? You've got primary and you've got tertiary halogenoalkanes. Primary में everything happens in one go. OH comes in, Cl gets knocked out. Tertiary में the Cl gets knocked out first, takes away electrons, carbon becomes positive, and then the OH minus 1 comes in. 3 differences. Okay, यहाँ पे the SN1 mechanism is being discussed because you've got a tertiary halogenoalkane. So define what a tertiary bromoalkane is. So उसके अंदर होता है कि the alpha carbon is bonded to 3 alkyl chains. Here, organic compound M forms when 2-methyl propane is heated with ethanolic OH-ions. ठीक है? Now ethanolic OH-ions, वापस उस पे आओ. Halogenoalkanes. Now remember this, कि if अगर aqueous NaOH या OH-ions use किया ना, you'll get substitution. और halogenoalkanes में, if you use ethanolic NaOH, ये ethanolic है, ठीक है? और heat कर रहे हो उसके साथ, so it will turn into an alkene. The halogen will be lost and instead you'll get a double bond. तो वरना substitution होती है. Halogenoalkane, halogen की जगह OH आ जाता है. But if you have ethanolic, then it will turn into an alkene. तो यहाँ पे same thing. इधर क्या होगा कि अगर ethanolic use किया ना, तो इसके साथ CH3 थे, ठीक है? So it had 3 CH3s and there was a Br. अब क्या होगा? The Br is going to be lost and this carbon atom will have a double bond. वो किसी भी side पे लगा लो, it's the same thing. And then the rest are all H atoms. So you will end up with an alkene. Agla part, it's it's about period 3. NaCl is ionic. मेरे ख्याल से उससे I is for ionic. AlCl3, remember, is covalent. As said, the rest are all covalent. Structure, NaCl is giant. G लिखा हुआ है giant. It's a giant ionic lattice. The rest are all simple covalent. Simple click, yes. Oxidation states that this is +1, this is +3, +4, +5, +3, and this is again +2. As I deduce the oxidation state, will be clear. Right, equation for the reaction of NaCl with water. So it's all about inorganic chemistry. Uske wo note se khalo ke what happens with NaCl reacts with water. Kuch bhi nahi hota. It just dissolves. वो सारे period 3 के revise कर लेते. So chlorides with water. NaCl, nothing happens, just dissolves. वो जो बाकी हैं, they all hydrolyze. Even MgCl2 slightly hydrolyzes. They all react with water. So NaCl का क्या reaction होगा? It's going to be, it's just going to turn into, उसे equation पूरी लिखने को क्या है? So NaCl plus aqueous dissociates into aqueous ions. No reaction, dissolves. PCl5 with water, it will turn into 2 acids. One of them is H3PO4 and the other one is HCl. So baki sare jo hai, they would all turn into acids. You can balance this on your own. So the rest of all the chlorides, AlCl3 भी HCl बना लेगा, SSCl4 will also hydrolyze, PCl3, PCl5, they would all hydrolyze. Let's look at dot and cross diagram. Al2Cl6 की bonding show करो पूरी. So Cl single bond बना रहा है, has 6 electrons remaining. There's going to be another Cl, single bond. Now what happens is that this is one AlCl3. The aluminium, it's in group 3, so it's just got 6 electrons. There's a deficiency of 2 electrons. So ये क्या करता है कि it attaches to another AlCl3 molecule. जगह बड़ी. अच्छा, it attaches to another AlCl3 molecule. Where this is exactly the same AlCl3. ठीक है, वही 3 covalent bonds बना रहा है. Except फिर 2 dative bonds बन गए क्योंकि this Al had incomplete outer shell, so it got 2 electrons from the neighboring Cl. This Al had incomplete outer shells, so it got 2 electrons from the neighboring Cl, so it ended up forming 2 dative bonds. एक dative bond आपके पास यहाँ पे बना है, and the other one ended up forming on that side. So dot and cross diagram to show Al2Cl6, that's a dimer. वो बना दिया. State the effect of an increase in temperature on the equilibrium mixture. ऊपर equilibrium दिया हुआ है, it's an exothermic process. ये value दी हुई है. So when you increase temperature, which reaction is favored? The endothermic, which in the above case is backward. तो ये backward है, ठीक है? Endo is backward. तो आपका जो dimer है वो टूट जाएगा. So Explain your answer. Effect of increased so backward reactions favored. That's about it. So equilibrium mixture के ऊपर comment करना, so there's going to be more AlCl3 produced. और अगला कि there's a 3.3 grams sample of PVC chloride is heated in 500 Kelvins in a sealed flask. तो कोई PVC का chloride है. At this temperature, the chloride is a gas and has a volume of 250 cm3 and the pressure in the flask is this. तो MR निकालनी है. That's kind of easy. That P कितना? That's 323 times 10 power 3. V कितना? That's 250 cm3. That's 10 to the power minus क्या होगा? 6 meter cube में होना चाहिए. That's PV. N is mass over MR, so it's 3.3 grams divided by MR. R is 8.31 times temperature is 500 Kelvins. तो आपको बस MR निकालना है. Just make sure कि ये units. तो आपने बस MR निकालना है. Take the वो बाकी चीजों को तो नीचे ले आओ. So it's going to be 323 times 250 times थोड़ा simplify कर लो 10 power minus 6 so 3 minus 3 रह जाएगा. MR को दूसरी साइड पे ले जाओ. इसका आंसर कोई मुझे बता दे कि क्या आ रहा है. आयजा रियान कोई भी इसका आंसर बता दे कि क्या है. ठीक है कियान नूर ऑन.
सर हमने किलो में बताना है.
नहीं किलो में क्यों? क्या चीज किलो में?
सर वो 500 के.
कैल्विन्स है ना वो.
ओ ओके.
वो तो कैल्विन्स है. वो टेम्परेचर है. मतलब के हटा दो. खत्म करो के. वो आगे एमआर के नहीं आया अभी तक. एक सेकंड जस्ट मिस. 169.80. तो वो कह रहा है फॉर्मूला निकालो पीएचसी क्लोराइड. सो व्हिच पीएचसी क्लोराइड. अब ये किसका है? 170 approximately 170. I think it's SiCl4. वो काफी ज्यादा है. NaCl MgCl2 ज्यादा है हमारा. Cl4Cl that's कितनी आ रही है? That's silicon is 28 plus 35.5 times 4 142 plus 28, that's ये कहाँ से ये बन रहा है 170 or approximately close to 170. As a close to, ये clear है ये question? I think pH3 chloride SaCl4 होगा, ठीक है? उसमें सारे आप देख सकते हो PCl5 Cl5 होगा तो I think that would be too much, ठीक है? That would have a PCl5 है, PCl3 है, SaCl4 है, MgCl2 है, NaCl, AlCl3. तो उन सारों में I guess it's SaCl4. थोड़ा सा trial and error, ठीक है? थोड़ा सा common sense use करो. 4 Cls would kind of get you close to this, so it's SaCl4. As the next one is an excess of Cl-1 is added to bromine. So what is observed? तो बताओ कि bromine, is it more reactive or less reactive than Cl? Reactivity in group 17 क्या होता है? Group 17 में reactivity क्या होती है? Down the group, किधर गया group 17? अच्छा, so the reactivity or the oxidizing ability, it decreases down the group. ठीक है, they become weaker oxidizing agents down the group. तो bromine is not a good oxidizing agent. तो इस केस पे क्या होगा कि it's not a more reactive displaces a less reactive. So this is not a more reactive. It's not able to gain electrons. It's a weaker oxidizing agent, so nothing will happen. No reaction will take place. ये O levels में भी पढ़ा हुआ था कि a more reactive displaces a less reactive. मतलब अगर यहाँ पे NaCl होता तो in this case there's not going to be any reaction because a more reactive does not displace a less reactive. अगर उल्टा होता ना, if it had been Cl2 plus NaBr, so NaCl would have been formed and bromine gas would be produced. So in this case, there's not going to be any reaction. So what is observed? Nothing is observed. और उसकी explain जब वो कहेगा तो write in detail why it's not going to happen, because bromine is a weaker oxidizing agent. इसका मतलब है कि वो उससे electrons खींच नहीं सकता, वो reduce नहीं हो सकता. It's not able to gain electrons from Cl-1. Then SCl2 has an MR of 103.1 and is a liquid at room temperature. SBr2 has an MR of 191.9 and is a gas at room temperature. Explain the difference. I say explain the difference. One second. I say explain the difference in the physical state of SCl2 and SBr2. Give your answer in terms of intermolecular forces. The intermolecular forces किसमें ज़्यादा है? It's a liquid SCl2. So SCl2 is a liquid, and remember कि उसकी shape क्या होगी? उसकी shape जो होगी ना, that's going to be कितने lone pairs? And I think there are 2 lone pairs. तो वो tetrahedral shape से derived है. It's a bent shape. 104.5 angle, ठीक है? So that's SCl2. SBr2 is exactly the same. So that's SBr2. दो lone pairs, दो bonds, so that's bent 104.5 degrees the angle. अब इसमें क्या कि this one has a higher boiling point. It's a liquid. वो दूसरा वाला gas है. This one is a gas, so it obviously has weaker intermolecular forces. This one is a liquid, so it obviously has greater intermolecular forces. तो वो कौन सी intermolecular force है? They've got dipole. Cl is electronegative, so Cl will make the molecule polar. Slight negative होगा, and this sulfur part will be slight positive. Br will also create dipoles, but Br is relatively less electronegative. तो उसका जो dipole होगा वो थोड़ा छोटा होगा. तो इसका जो पॉजिटिव साइड भी होगी दैट वुड बी स्मॉलर एज वेल. ठीक है, remember down the group electronegativity decreases. So all you have to state is that this one has stronger dipoles. Why does it have stronger dipoles? Because Cl is more electronegative compared to Br, which is why it's got more intermolecular forces. So permanent dipole attraction is stronger. तो ये आपने यहाँ पे स्टेट करना है 2 mark. One is अच्छा, फिर next is अच्छा next is metal का स्ट्रक्चर ड्रॉ करना है. मेटल का स्ट्रक्चर वो बोले उसका it's a bunch of positive ions. In a sea of free moving mobile electrons. ठीक है, you don't have to write anything apart from this. अच्छा, फिर next part is bismuth reacts with chloride to form this thing, is a solid at room temperature, melts when heated gently, reacts vigorously with water at room temperature to form an acidic solution, suggests the type of bonding and structure shown by Bi. पहले तो बहुत जल्दी मेल्ट हो जाता है. ठीक है, it melts quickly although it's a solid. Low melting and boiling points, right? तो जब भी कोई चीज होगी जिसके मेल्टिंग और बॉइलिंग पॉइंट लो होते हैं तो it's definitely a covalent molecule. So the bonding is going to be covalent and the structure is going to be simple molecular with weak intermolecular forces. क्योंकि बाकी सारे जो है ना, they are all having high melting and boiling points. Ionic जितना भी होता है that's high melting boiling points. Metallic तो obviously it's not metallic, it's a compound. Covalent, giant covalent होता it would have had high melting and boiling points. So if it's melting very quickly, तो आपने बस वही बताना है, it melts when gently heated, so that means it's got a low melting and boiling point. That indicates that it's got weak intermolecular forces. इन इसका मतलब it's forming simple covalent molecules. तो ये उसकी explanation होगी. ठीक है, for this one. Next part is कि you've got 4 organic compounds and you're supposed to distinguish them by chemical tests and analytical techniques as well. So first one, aldehyde and ketone. What's the difference between an aldehyde and a ketone? So aldehyde में क्या होता है? It gets oxidized to form carboxylic acids. Ketones, they don't get oxidized. तो ये बस difference है. तो aldehyde में क्या लिखोगे कि the first one is an aldehyde, this one is a ketone. So reagent जो add करोगे that's going to be oxidizing agent K2Cr2O7, acidified and reflux. He's just asking for the reagent. Conditions नहीं मांगी. So the ketone is not going to give a positive test. Result is going to be orange to green. इसमें 2-3 और टेस्ट भी कर सकते थे कि you could have added Tollens, so you would get silver mirror. You could have added Felling. You would have gotten a brick red press plate. So primary alcohol turns to aldehyde. Aldehydes turn into carboxylic acids. Secondary alcohols turn into ketones. Ketones don't get further oxidized. So aldehyde और ketones में ये major फर्क है, difference है. The other one is this is a ketone, this one is also a ketone, so both of them are ketones. यहाँ पे the test that you're going to do is an iodoform test. Iodoform test ये वाला is a positive test for a methyl ketone. तो methyl के साथ अगर if you have a serial bond O, then it's going to give a positive test. तो यहाँ पे this one is a methyl ketone because there's a carbon and this carbon has 3 H's, so this is a methyl next to a ketone. So यहाँ पे it's not a methyl next to a ketone, so this one will give a positive test for iodoform. Iodoform क्या होता है? Alkaline iodine, NaOH plus I2 aqueous. So B1 is going to give you a positive test and it's going to form a yellow precipitate. होता ही है कि जो methyl है ना, that breaks and it forms a yellow precipitate of ये जो methyl part है that forms a, इधर show कर देता हूँ, तो methyl breaks and forms a CHI3 yellow precipitate. और जो दोनों cases में ना, the other side turns into a carboxylic acid. So this is iodoform. Next one is कि one of them is a ketone, the other one is an ester. ठीक है, ये ester है. So how do you identify a ketone from an ester? तो ketone का एक positive test है that it gives you an orange precipitate with 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine, 2,4-D in pH. तो ketone will give a positive test. तो यहाँ पे carbonyl groups को ना identify करने के लिए you use, and it will give you an orange precipitate. Here you've got this thing, you've got alcohols, 2 alcohols. This one is a primary alcohol. इसके साथ सिर्फ एक carbon chain है. So if it's got 1 carbon chain, that's your primary alcohol. और primary alcohol के बारे में हमने क्या पढ़ा है? We've studied कि a primary alcohol will turn into an aldehyde and will further get oxidized to a carboxylic acid. This one is a tertiary alcohol because the carbon is bonded to 3 carbon chains. एक इधर है, एक top पे, one on this side. So it's a tertiary alcohol. Tertiary alcohols का ये कि they don't get oxidized. So primary alcohols are going to get oxidized, K2Cr2O7, acidified, reflux. The observation will be orange to green. But only the primary alcohols get oxidized. Primary or secondary oxides होते हैं. Primary alcohols, they turn into aldehydes, carboxylic acid. Secondary alcohols, they turn into ketones. Tertiary oxidation, it doesn't happen. Now, what are structural isomers? Same molecular formula, different? Molecules having same molecular formula? But different. Structural formula. B2 or B2 का नाम देना है. B2, what is B2? That's 5 carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a ketone, pentanone, it's a ketone. Or 3 के ऊपर it's a ketone on the third one. So pentanone, 3-one. On the third one, it's a ketone. Molecular formula of D1, you have to give that. So D1 को नीचे draw कर लेते हैं. कैसा है D1? D1 is box है. और यहाँ पे I think CH3 or OH है. So molecular formula of this thing. So that's 1 carbon atom, that's another carbon atom, that's another carbon atom. And here's another carbon atom. So I've got 5 carbon atoms. H's, इसके साथ 2 H's होंगे, 2 H's. Each carbon must be making 4 bonds. So how many H's? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there's one oxygen. Identify the type of polymer that forms from D2. D2 is an alkene. Alkene से कौन सा polymer बनता है? Addition. And draw one repeat unit of this polymer. So कितने? That's 1, 2, 3, 4 और फिर OH है. So this is the molecule 1, 2, 3, 4 और फिर OH है. इसका polymer draw करना. So it's a double bond that's going to make the polymer. So double bond. The first carbon atom has 2 H's, so I'm going to add 2 H's. ये वाला carbon atom जो है ना, it's got ये दो carbons के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, ठीक है? So it's got one carbon atom, then another carbon atom, और ऊपर एक H होगा. 2 H's, and this one has 2 H's, and it also has an OH. इसके साथ H पूरे कर लो. This is H, 2 H's, 2 H's. So I've just drawn the same thing, ठीक है? Except I focus on the double bond. Double bond. This carbon is bonded to 2 H's. This carbon over here is bonded to an H, and CH2, CH2, OH. So how is a polymer formed? Okay, repeat. Okay, the same thing will repeat. So there is CH2, CH2. So beach में से the double bond would turn into a single bond, and they'll start joining up. He's asking for one repeat unit, so the one repeat unit is this thing. N लगा दो, that's your repeat unit. ठीक है, तो कोई भी polymer draw करना है, just draw the double bond section. मतलब आप उसका double bond draw करोगे, बाकी चीजें ऊपर नीचे draw करते हैं, ठीक है? इसको सीधा करके ना, double bond and 2 H's, and this side is H and CH2, CH2, OH. अच्छा, organic compound infrared spectrum contains 3 carbon compound. E क्या है? E है ही नहीं, ठीक है? E नई कोई चीज है. अच्छा, organic compound E contains 3 carbon atoms. E reacts with cold dilute KMnO4 to form a single compound F with MR 154.9. अब cold KMnO4 ना, वो कौन सी चीज है जो cold KMnO4 के साथ react करती है? It's probably an alkene, क्योंकि cold KMnO4 it undergoes mild oxidation. तो alkene होगा most likely, ठीक है? So my guess it's a 3 carbon atom alkene. 3 H's, 1 H, 2 H's. तो अगर इसकी mild oxidation cold KMnO4 के साथ हो रही है, so what will it turn into? It will turn into a diol. जो double bond वाला part है, 2 OH groups are going to get added to it. And this will turn into a single bond. ठीक है, तो mild oxidation is diols get formed. MR इसका देख लो कि यही आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा. That's 3 carbons, that's 36. MR तो उसके करीब भी नहीं आ रहा. E contains 3 carbon atoms. E reacts with cold KMnO4 to form a single compound F. इसको calculate कर लेते हैं कि it's 3 carbon atoms. That's 12 times 3. That's 36 plus OH is 17 plus another 17. कितना हो गया? 70 हो गया. So that's then how many H's? You've got 3 plus 6 H's. 76. ये तो उसके करीब भी नहीं आया, तो उसका मतलब ये तो obviously नहीं है, but something similar to this. So you have still no idea about the infrared spectrum of E is shown. Now in the infrared spectrum, I don't think you can guess a lot happening. कि what's happening. ठीक है, ये देख लेते हैं. The table is given. CH bonds होते हैं, that's 2800 to 3100. So this is probably 2800 to 3000. That's probably your CH bonds. So CH तो हर किसी में होता है, ठीक है. So there's, you don't get a lot of information from that. So you're getting some strong absorption around the 1200 mark. So 1200 पे ना, what do you get 1200? CO bond. So ये हो सकता है, ये वाला point हो सकता है, that's a CO bond. 1000 से नीचे तो उधर table में nothing is given. There's probably some weak absorption at 1600 से पहले. So I don't think double bond. So aromatic alkene double bond. So I guess this is our carbon double bond carbon. So it's नहीं पता लगा. We didn't get a lot of information. So maybe it's got a single bond O. Still no idea. अच्छा, F क्या था? F is the product of the oxidation. F पे you're getting an absorption above 3200. So that's an alcohol OH group 3200. It's the last one. So OH होगा. So this thing over here is definitely an OH. बाकी कुछ 1000 के ऊपर तो टेबल में कुछ भी नहीं given, ठीक है. So तो हमें ये पता था F में OH होगा. तो हमने यहाँ पे ना जो guess work किया. First thing was he said कि E reacts with cold dilute KMnO4. तो हमें पता है कि it's a reaction of alkenes. It forms diols to form a single compound F with Mr144. Mr हमारी गलत है. So we said that it's a 3 carbon atom alkene. It turned into a diol. इतना हमें पता है. तो E is an alkene. Which turned into a diol. ये confirm हो गया कि इसके spectrum में OH आ रहा है. So that's confirmed. This is what's happening. This is definitely an alkene क्योंकि you're getting a double bond as well. इसका तो अभी हमें वेग सा पता लगा है, ठीक है. Question देख लेते हैं. What is the question? Use the two infrared spectra to identify the functional group present only in E. Explain your answer referring only to absorptions at frequencies greater than 1500. तो हम कह देते हैं कि we found out that it's got a double bond. और explanation में वही होगा कि you're getting an absorption around the 1600 mark. जो table के अंदर ना, that shows an alkene. फिर कहा use infrared spectrum of F to identify the functional group formed when E reacts with cold dilute KMnO4. तो हमें पता है it's going to form a diol alcohol OH group. How do we know that? क्योंकि वो 3200 plus के ऊपर ना, ये जो नीचे नहीं है 3200 to 3650. You're getting an absorption at this range. तो इस range पे आपके पास absorption आ रही है. तो एक मार्क इंफ्रारेड स्पेक्ट्रम में कोई बड़ा क्वेश्चन नहीं आता. बस एक मार्क की दो तीन टोटल क्वेश्चन लग बहुत बड़ा है, but it's just a 3 mark question. The mass spectrum of E shows a molecular ion peak. अब यहाँ पे वो आ गया है molecular ion peak. M+2 peak. So it says that there's a molecular ion peak and an M+2 peak of approximately equal abundance, 120 and 122. Deduce the add mass to charge ratio 120 and 120. Deduce the MR of E. So M+2 peak की जब equal abundance आती है 1:1, that means it's got 1 bromine. There's 1 bromine. ठीक है, ये हमने क्लास में भी किया था, इसके ऊपर बहुत कम क्वेश्चन है, ठीक है, जस्ट मेक श्योर यू रिमेम्बर दिस। एक सेकंड में देख लूं कहाँ पे किया था ये एनालिटिकल वाला पार्ट। ठीक है, मेक श्योर कि व्हाट इज मास स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी, दैट बहुत सिंपल सी चीज है कि मास स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी में द मॉलिक्यूल एंड इट्स फ्रैगमेंट्स आर डिटेक्टेड। मॉलिक्यूल की जो मास होती है ना उसके अंदर देयर इज अ वेरिएशन। अगर इफ यू हैव Cl, the molecule is going to have two different deflections. There's going to be a heavy molecule and there's going to be a slightly lighter molecule. Heavy क्यों होगा? क्योंकि Cl could have a mass of heavy होगा Cl can have a mass of 37. Light molecule होगा Cl can have a mass of 35. It's got isotopes. So you're going to detect something that has a mass of 52. You'll also have a detection at 50 as well. तो दो different types के आपको molecules मिलेंगे with different masses, and the relative abundance will be 3:1. Cl के जो isotopes हैं ना, they exist in 3:1. और फिर हमने we did bromine as well. I explained कि अगर आपके पास ना bromine होता ना, तो bromine की वजह से you get two different masses as well. The only difference is कि bromine के case में the abundance of both isotopes is equal. तो दोनों जो molecules होंगे ना, you'll get an equal probability of getting both of them. तो यहाँ पे he had stated कि भाई molecular ion और M+2 जो है ना, उन दोनों की जो mass है ना वो exactly same, उनकी sorry abundance जो है ना exactly same आ रही है. So that means must be a bromine isotope. कम वाली mass जो आ रही होगी ना वो bromine 79 की वजह से आ रही होगी, ज्यादा वाली जो mass होगी ना वो bromine 81 की वजह से आ रही होगी. So दो का difference आ जाता है if you use the other bromine. So this indicates that the molecule has at least one bromine. So you now have to figure out what the structure of E is. तो E हमें पता तो लग गया था कि it was a diol. So it was an alkene. We had figured that out. कि लेकिन E के अंदर ना there must be ये MR उससे किसकी दी हुई है? MR उससे दी हुई है F की. तो E की जो MR है ना उस वजह से दी हुई है 120 दी हुई है, ठीक है. तो है वो वही alkene जो हमने पहले फिगर आउट किया था, but it must have a bromine in it. One. तो ब्रोमीन 79 भी हो सकता है ब्रोमीन, इसलिए उसकी E की जो मास की जो वैल्यू है ना उसके अंदर देयर इज अ वेरिएशन 120 122. ये अब टोटल कर लेते हैं डू वी गेट दिस और नॉट. तो 3 कार्बन इज 1236 प्लस 1 ब्रोमीन दैट्स 79 और फिर इसमें 5 H है तो एग्जैक्टली 120 बन रहा है. So we were pretty close. We were end में जाकर we got the information that the molecule had one bromine as well. ये चीज लेकिन याद रखनी है, ठीक है. जस्ट रिमेम्बर दिस कि मास उसके मॉलिक्यूल की मास में अगर दो का डिफरेंस आ रहा है ना एंड इट हैज इक्वल प्रोबेबिलिटी, दैट मींस वन ब्रोमीन. अगर उसमें एक Cl होगा ना तो Cl के केस में the molecule will again have a variation of 2 because Cl could be 35, it could be 37. तो उसकी जो mass ratio होगी उसके अंदर there's going to be a difference of 2. उसकी जो abundance होगी that's going to be 3:1 because the chances of getting Cl35 is 3 times higher than the chances of getting Cl37. तो इसका मैं खैर डिटेल लेक्चर दोबारा सेंड कर दूंगा, but just remember कि ये जो चीज है keep this in mind कि ये छोटा सा चीज आपको याद रखना है, ठीक है. और अगला पार्ट, ये पार्ट क्लियर है ये वाला. मैं क्वेश्चन फिर से समराइज कर लेता हूँ, क्वेश्चन इतना बड़ा नहीं था इन, और ये उन चंद क्वेश्चंस में से जो इंफ्रारेड स्पेक्ट्रम के ऊपर ना थोड़े बड़े आए हैं. तो मैं जस्ट समराइज दिस वन, ठीक है. There's a lot of data given. The question is not big itself. It's just a 3-4 mark question. first thing कि cold dilute KMnO4 I was able to figure out कि भाई alkenes are the only things that react with cold dilute KMnO4, so it's a 3 carbon atom alkene. बस मेरी MR ठीक नहीं आ रही थी because I did not know कि there was a bromine in it as well. यहाँ से मुझे पता लगा कि it's an alkene, ठीक है, it was confirmed it's an alkene. वो वैसे ही confirmed है it's an alkene because cold dilute KMnO4 according to the chart reacts only with alkenes. And what will it form? The alkene will turn into a diol. तो वो भी मुझे पता लग गया था वो जो F बना ना must be a diol. And infrared spectrum से I was able to figure out, confirm this, that it was a diol. क्योंकि 3400 के ऊपर आया था, ठीक है. So the basic idea was there. The only other information that we had was कि भाई वो mm+2 का जो रेशियो है ना, equal abundance, ठीक है, equal abundance. So that meant कि must be one bromine. तो आपका वही 3 कार्बन एटम alkene है, but it has one bromine in it. तो वो exactly 120 बन रहा है, ठीक है. और फिर वो कह रहा है complete the equation for the reaction of E with cold dilute KMnO4 to form F. तो वो यही है, ये जो चीज है ना, क्या है, CH2Br and CH and then double bond and CH diols बन जाएंगे, ठीक है. So it's going to turn into a diol. तो ये जो डबल बॉन्ड नहीं है इस जगह पे, तो it's going to become CH2Br, CHOH and CH2OH. तो वो dilute KMnO4 के साथ it's going to turn into a diol. फिर devise a multi-step route to form C2 from A1. So it's an ester. Ester किससे बनता है? Carboxylic acid से. So first thing is, इसको I'm going to oxidize it. I'm going to turn this 3 carbon atom aldehyde into a carboxylic acid. ठीक है, पहला काम. And I'm going to react it with an alcohol. तो उसको alcohol के साथ react कर दो, ठीक है. So esters are formed from an alcohol and a carboxylic acid. So the OH will be lost and the H will be lost and they'll join up. And it will form an ester. तो पहला काम है कि devise a multi-step route. तो oxidize करो इसको. अच्छा, इसको oxidize करो. और K2Cr2O7 acidified and reflux. और ये जो अल्कोहल है ना, ये भी इसी में से बन जाएगा. इसी एल्डिहाइड को रिड्यूस करो with NaBH4. तो जो एल्डिहाइड है that will turn into a carboxylic acid. The aldehyde will also turn into the alcohol. तो वही 3 कार्बन एटम अल्कोहल भी बन जाएगा और वही 3 कार्बन एटम कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड भी बन जाएगा. तो अब फिर दोनों को रिएक्ट कर दो. एस्टर्स किस तरह बनते हैं? कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड एंड रिफ्लक्स. तो स्टेप 1 बताओ कि भाई इसको ऑक्साइज करो, टर्न इट इनटू अ कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड, प्रोपेनोइक एसिड. इसी को रिड्यूस करो, टर्न इट इनटू प्रोपेनॉल. फिर वो प्रोपेनोइक एसिड और प्रोपेनॉल को रिएक्ट करो, यू विल फॉर्म द एस्टर. तो चलो ठीक है, ये बस नेक्स्ट टाइम कंटिन्यू करते हैं, ठीक है. नहीं, नो एस्टर्स इंक्लूडेड है. एस्टर्स का सिर्फ वो पार्ट इंक्लूडेड है. ये किधर है नोट्स? उसके अंदर भी देखना एस्टर्स ओ लेवल्स वाला. ये एस्टर्स में कोई नई चीज नहीं है, बिल्कुल बेसिक एस्टर्स. दैट इज you write at the एस्टरिफिकेशन, ठीक है. वही ओ लेवल्स वाला है. Carboxylic acid alcohols, they form an ester. ठीक है, they form an ester. और वही ester टूट भी जाते हैं. ठीक है, you got a ester link, it breaks down back into carboxylic acid and alcohol. ठीक है. So esters are included. Remember that. Okay, then take care. Allah Hafiz.